I have a private way to communicate with you inside of the wallet without knowing who you are. But I know you're spending, and your spending tells me what you're interested in. There's so much data, but most of the people are really not looking into it in a great way. Everything is always like a loud signal. It's always shouting, but no one is really listening. In this moment, you lose me, for example. I never interact with an ad, especially if it doesn't speak to me.
Welcome to Known, where tech brand builders share their journeys and teach you how to build your own. I'm Stella P.S.
And I'm Anastasia Kulibaba. In today's episode, we're interviewing Mo Salha.
Mo's career spans from Mercedes, Vodafone, and building his own agency to now working at theMiracle, where he helps companies reach their users through gathering on-chain data. Let's dive in. Hi Mo, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. We're super excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
We checked your experience and you are working in a very unique crossroad. At first, at one side, you're working with big fashion brands, fashion houses, and then you are also building the Web3 native infrastructure. How did you combine these two completely separate industries?
Yeah, because actually it's always about digital innovation and also Web2 matures and adapts new technologies. So my background is like pretty boring. So I learned at Mercedes and then I was area manager at Vodafone. So it's
So boring, right?
yeah, it's like, and then I think 2016 I came in first contact with blockchain and cryptocurrency and NFTs, and I really was very drawn to it because I love the technology and I always had a feeling like it could be very beneficial. And then those brands needed support, and I was like very experienced. And this was the first touch point how those brands came together with blockchain. This was basically the background.
And from this very creative kind of background, Web2 background, what are the problems that you still see in Web3 marketing?
I think the main problem with Web3 marketing or marketing in general, especially in Web3, is they shout a lot. So everything is always like a loud signal. It's always shouting, but no one is really listening, in my opinion. So there's a lot of data available on-chain. That's like always the beauty of blockchain, the transparency, but no one is really properly analyzing the data. No one is really properly seeing how the users behave on-chain. And instead of really using this data and create a profile about the user that you want to reach, they just, I don't want to talk bad about KOL marketing or banner advertisement, but it's very generic. So, and I think that's a huge problem because it's more an interruption of your journey. If you're in an application and suddenly there's an ad that doesn't resonate with you.
Yeah.
So in this moment, you lose me, for example. I never interact with an ad, especially if it doesn't speak to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, this reminds me of a conversation that we've had with a very smart person who was just telling us that now it's a lot of broadcasting and not enough engaging. So I believe that this is a problem that you're kind of focusing on right at the moment, right? Like how to change that.
Yeah, and I also wanted to say that I think that this is the golden rule of Web2, like normal traditional marketing. You need to understand your target audience really well. The marketers, they're like crafting the profiles of their persona really in detailed way. They understand everything, where they go to buy some clothes, or like what is their interest, or whether they have a family, what kind of interest they have in their normal life. And I think that this is missing in Web3 world, and like kind of like a bubble, because we see these people as a crowd, unfortunately, and that's from where this like broadcasting or like this mass distribution of content and ads is coming from.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like it's really just like trying to move the crowd, like you say. You know, they have like a goal in their head, and they're just gonna spam the people because at the end of the day, it's the new generation. It's like an attention marketing and
Attention
and it's like exactly. And so obviously they just try to ride the hype. You know, they just try to use this, but I mean, we see it with a lot of projects that come in. It's like the people are like super amazed because maybe they have amazing graphics and Vanity metrics, and you know, everything looks great. But at the end of the day, if you really cannot catch people, because you don't understand who you reach or who you talk to, it will fall flat very quick.
Right. And this is a problem that you're solving, right? Helping crypto companies target the proper users on chain through on-chain data. How does that look like?
So I'm a VP of BD and strategic partnerships at theMiracle, and we are first a data analytic company because, like I said, there's so much data, but most of the people are really not looking into it in a great way. So we are usually installing, I don't want to be too technical, but let's say Google Tag Manager at the website of the client, and we analyze who are their clients, what do they like, where do they churn, what are they doing outside of the ecosystem, and then we try to obviously look for lookalike clients or try to find attribution, and then we target them inside of the wallet. So basically, we deliver a reward that resonates with them. So if you are someone who buys a lot of digital fashion, then it will be so much more likely that you will have an, let's say, an access to the private sale of Maison Margiela. If you are someone who gambles a lot, you will never see the reward that I just thought about, but you will maybe see something from an iGaming company. So this is something you will think like, oh, the wallet understands me, and you appreciate it, and this is the way how we change things. So we are really bringing something that the users resonates with.
But why wallets? Why did you decide to go with wallets and use them as a main platform for like distribution or reaching the audience that brands will need?
So if I take like my personal experience is, if I would see an offer inside of X in my DMs or in the feed, I'm always careful because, you know, we have a lot of scams in our industry. So I will not click on a link. I will not interact with the reward. But the wallet is something that I choose, I trust, you know, and the trust layer is like super important, especially in our industry. So if I see something inside of the wallet that I trust, I will much more likely interact with it than a random ad in an Instagram feed, for example.
Right. And about the trust, this is something quite interesting that you've managed to collaborate on crypto with a lot of very big brands. Crypto is a very low trust industry, and a lot of CMOs have been burned before using crypto. Users have been scammed. So how do you convince Web2 brands to start working with crypto users?
So the first rule is don't talk about crypto. Don't talk about blockchain. You always lead with a solution to their problems. And one of those problems is actually, even Web2 marketing is still better than Web3 marketing, but most of the signals that they are taken into account, they are like someone clicked on the ad, someone landed on my website, but then the rest is missing. And we tell them basically, I always love to tell them, imagine you can look into a bank account and you see what the people are spending, not what they're looking at, what they're talking about, where is their spend. So it's much more likely to win a client with a reward that is resonating with him, that already is spending in this kind of vertical, than someone who is Googling all the day and clicking on ads and is like window shopping.
Okay.
So, and then you lead with how is it possible? And then you come up with blockchain, and then it's much more easy because you already show them a solution to their problem, and then they will more listen than if you come with crypto or blockchain.
Do you see on-chain, like using on-chain data from users as a future of marketing? Will it be helpful for most of the brands, or are there any like specific categories that will benefit from it?
I definitely think it's going to be a huge upside on chain data because, first of all, like I said, you can look inside of someone's bank account without really knowing who it is. So I don't need to find out what is your Twitter account, what is your Telegram, what is your email, what many other companies are doing. I have a private way to communicate with you inside of the wallet without knowing who you are. But I know your spending, and your spending tells me what you're interested in. So I really see, because of the metrics that we see, and we're talking about 40% click-through rate, that's like 100x higher than traditional marketing. That means like 40 people from 100 that we show them a reward, interact with it, because we know they like it. So I really see a huge upside. And I think in 2027, the digital product passport for clothes should be mandatory in Europe. And if they're clever, they're going to put it on blockchain. And it usually carries informations like where is the fabric from, or where is it produced, and things like this. And now just imagine you as one brand could see, for example, who bought an $8,000 jacket from Louis Vuitton. So you can create this interoperable loyalty system. So if I'm a brand X and I see someone is spending a lot on a brand Y, and we are like in the same level, I can just intercept him in a wallet if it's on a public blockchain. What I really hope. So I really hope that we finally get rewarded for our data, because usually the user's data is always like misused, and the products are making money, the people selling our data. But just imagine, just because of your spending, you will get rewards that other people will not get. And we want to try to flip the script. Yeah. So I think it's going to play a huge role.
Yeah, and you were speaking about this not from the like brand's perspective, but also from the user perspective. If it's relevant for me, if it resonates with me, then I will benefit from this as well, not just the brand that will sell me something, because it will truly make me happy because I am interested and like in different kind of niches.
Exactly. And you talked a lot about data as well. So there is a big difference between having a lot of data and knowing what to do with it. So where do you see the gaps happening with companies? How do they misunderstand what to do with data? Any tips that you can give?
I mean, the data is really like super important. A clean data is very important. And this is why I said before something about banners and ads and people that click on something. This is like it's a signal, but it's not really a very strong signal. If you have data of purchase, like purchase data, you see actually what did this person buy, that's a much stronger signal. So if you create a profile, you should use strong signals, and that's things like clicked on a banner or Googled about this brand. And I think this is it's like the huge difference. You have to categorize it properly, and then the biggest edge that you actually can have is how can you reach this person. So on-chain data is amazing, but how can you reach a wallet without knowing who it is? This is why I really believe that the wallets that we know right now, they will be kind of banks with a feed that basically caters your needs. So in-wallet activation is going to be very, very big in the future.
Interesting. So basically, you would say that it's not just about having a lot of data, it's about having clean data, and also, you said having clean data and also knowing exactly which one is relevant or not, right?
Exactly. And also after you have the data and you created a cohort of, 100,000 people that actually are very interesting for your brand, is you need a funnel, how to reach them. And this is why I really believe in-wallet activation are going to be super valuable.
Can you share how it works in real life? Are there any case studies? I mean, like, are there any successful cases where you used on-chain data and this cohort that you mentioned for the brands or companies that were using on-chain activations to reach their audiences?
Yeah, I can give you maybe a easy one. One of the most successful or known Web3 or NFT projects is Pudgy Penguin. They came to us and say, we have this new app, Pudgy Play, and we want that people download it. So they wanted like a lot of downloads, and they offered a soulbound NFT. So everyone who downloads the game gets a soulbound NFT. So we were analyzing who is someone who likes Pudgy, who is someone who likes games. So we have like so many different layers of the data. So it's obviously a little bit of a black box that I cannot talk too much about it. And then we put this reward inside of the wallets that we think will resonate with it. And they get like inside of the wallet, they saw download Pudgy Play and claim your soulbound NFT. And we pushed, I think in 3 days or I don't know, maybe in a week, almost 50,000 downloads. So that's one of many successful stories.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm interested. Like, do you understand? Can you tell about conversion rate? Like how much higher it is from the other ways of promoting this through different platforms, or it's hard to
No, it's I
compare?
mean, without telling too many names, a product run a campaign with us, and a day later they called us and asked if we take investments. And we're like, yeah, we're closing a seed round now. I'm like, why? And they were like, you guys don't think what you have on your hands, right? I'm like, I mean, we knew the metrics are great, but they're like, your metrics are like 100x higher than anything we saw in Web3. So it is, let's say on average, 40% click-through rate. That means people that see interact with it. And then we have sometimes up to 30% that that convert to clients. That means revenue-generated actions. And we have a case study with Human Tech I can talk about because they are okay with it. It's also on our website. I think we had 70% click-through rate. And I don't want to lie, but maybe between 60 and 70% of them actually claimed the reward that we put in front of them.
Right.
These are also metrics.
Yeah, I want to talk more about you, your career, and your personal brand. You've been working with these huge Web2 brands, so Mercedes, Vodafone, which I wouldn't call boring at all. Founding your own agency, and now running essentially partnerships and BD at theMiracle. What is one lesson that you've been carrying with you through all these experiences?
I think there are like a few lessons. First of all, you always have to be open for change. Yeah. So there's always a pivot. There's no golden rule in anything. You cannot just rely on a business just because it's running good. So you always have to evolve. And I think the biggest driver of success in all of them is not really the product. It's always trust. So they always have to be this personal connection. They have to be this trust that your clients or the person that is in front of you is really trusting what you say. This is why it's also very important to deliver what you say. And this is like something that is in all industries the same.
Yeah.
And especially now in Web3, with trust, you have an edge compared to other competitors.
And how do you see a strong BD person who is aiming to make good connections for their company and bring partnerships?
Yeah, I think it goes a little bit back to what I just said, but obviously a good BD person have to be confident. Obviously his attire, have to be, you have to adapt to the situation. You have to have like a good mindset. You have to know the product, but much more important than this is don't sell something that you cannot deliver. Yeah. You need to actually know who you're talking with. So don't come with your standard ABC without actually knowing who's in front of you. Already know which problems you can solve and which you can't. And it really helps if someone asks you something that you cannot deliver to say, actually, we can't do this.
Yeah.
So this is something I have to say so often with Web2 companies, because Web2 companies are, for example, so used to geolocations and age. But in wallet activation, it's decentralized. I cannot say from which country they come. Obviously, we are collecting also IP and geolocations with the consent of the user. But we don't have like this age data and where they're from and so on. So you really have to openly say, look, right now we can't. So if they want to run a global campaign without restriction of companies, then it makes sense. And the beauty is also, if you're really just looking at data, for example, some people say, I don't want to interact with geolocation Indonesia or India or Nigeria, but they also have big spender. And if you just look at the data, you will also see the big spender inside of Nigeria and India and somewhere else that also would be a valuable client.
Right.
So this is like super important to really just be straightforward. What can you deliver? What can't you deliver? And just learn about the product before you talk to someone.
Absolutely. No, that's great insight. And I can totally relate because I've done a lot of BD as well in my career. And it's so important to be honest and open about what you cannot do, and people will just appreciate you more for that, because they see that you're not trying to sell them everything and anything that they might not need, but you're actually working with them in their success, building their success. So that's definitely a big one. And something that you said also earlier, I mean, you didn't really say it like that, but it came out a lot as you were talking. It's storytelling, right? So approaching people not with like, hey, this is blockchain, this is crypto, and this, but like, what is your pain point, and this is how I'm solving it. So the art of storytelling in business development is also very important.
Exactly. Yeah, storytelling, and just speak the language of your opposite, or the one in front of you.
Counterpart,
You're right.
How do you know them? Like, what do you do to understand the pain points of the businesses that you approach?
If you're a good BD, you do research. But before you go into the first conversation, I mean, if you go to a conference, you shouldn't go blindly to a conference. I have to say, I always was like blessed by God that I actually can just go on a conference and I go with the flow, and I will come back with the best connections that I need, even more than I think. But probably it's also because I'm in sales since I'm 14, and I will become 43 this year. So I have like a lot of years of experience, but you definitely need to map out tier A, tier B, tier C, who you want to talk with. You know, what I love to do is I love to catch people after the panel. You know, so if you really want to talk with decision makers, mostly your chance is they come from a panel. Listen to the panel, like really listen to the panel. Make some research before. What kind of client is it? Is it a B2B client? Is it someone who needs data intelligence? Is it someone who needs whatever? What are the problems of this industry? And then, you know, you give an honest feedback after they come down. They will feel it because they're clever. They're not for no reason in those positions. And then you can tell them basically who you are and which problem you can solve. And if it's really a problem, they're going to take time. And this is like, my approach, and it works 9 out of 10.
So I believe that what you work is communication too. And I had some experience in life when somebody will notice me because I wore something specific and they really liked it. And then we had a very productive conversation that ended up with some partnership or like good business relationship. Do you notice this as well? And do you use it as one of the tricks when you approach people?
Yeah, I mean, this what you said is like kind of a signature, right? I know also some people that always wear the same cappy, always wear like, I don't know, a yellow jacket, or you know, this is like really something that you can actually use to want to stand out. I don't need it because I have a shiny head, so everybody see the reflection. But obviously, like you say, it's a signal, right? I see clothing, like I see them from 2 different angles. Sometimes I'm just gonna grab whatever is there because I just feel like it. You know, I go in my Birkin slippers, and I don't know, sometimes it doesn't even fit, you know? It's fine because in this moment you feel like this. But like you say, it's a signal. And if I go in a boardroom of, let's say, a fashion company, I signal them basically, I understand you. So if I dress in a way that they understand, they will also feel like a little bit more respected than coming in with a hoodie and with sneakers, and they're all like, you know, dressed in a different way. So obviously you can definitely play with it. You should always feel comfortable. It's super important. So don't dress into something that you maybe don't feel comfortable with. And yeah, it can be definitely beneficial. So people will see you different. If I go in a suit in a grocery store, I feel like more respect from some people, especially from the older generation, than if I go with my jogger. You know, I have tattoos, and you know, they see like, oh, this guy with beard and jogger. So it's we can say it's unfair, but that's life.
I think that's how our brains work. We're just like, this is the first sign that we see, and unfortunately we're even making some decisions about the person before we start interacting
And you
with
only
them
have
from the appearance.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, and you only have one chance to make a good first impression. So yeah, this is something to take into consideration.
Also true.
It was a great conversation.
Yeah,
We can go to Fast question.
Yes. So before we wrap up, we do have this tradition of rapid fire questions. So I'm just gonna ask you to answer. I see that you're already laughing.
No, it's okay. Mostly my mouth is faster than my brain, so it's
That's
gonna be fine.
perfect. Then
Yeah,
keep it
it's
this
just
way.
because it's recorded. Maybe I'm like, I have to take care.
Okay, so are you ready? We're gonna ask you just a couple of questions. You have to pick an option. No, not allowed to say both or it depends.
Okay.
Straight, the first thing that comes to mind. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on-chain data or intuition?
On-chain data,
Wallets or social media?
wallets,
Performance or storytelling?
performance.
I see that this one was a tough
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Community or conversion?
Again,
Community or conversion?
conversion,
Hype or consistency?
consistency.
Thank you so much, Mo.
Thank you.
You see, I'm a data guy. And I wasn't like this before. Like a few years ago, I would have told you different things. I would have said community over or hype over.
Yeah.
But after so many years, I really know actually what moves the needle.
Right. Yeah. What brings ROI and will actually perform and have the company.
Now I answered from client perspective. So what will be better for him? So just as a side note.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, really. It was great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's go back to Spain.
See you around. This was Known. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe.
I don't need to find out what is your Twitter account, what is your Telegram, what is your email,